It is a biological function we all do, about 14 times a day. Usually it's a silent secret, but what happens if 8 billion people stop being polite at the exact same second? Would the sound deafen us? Would the smell knock us out? Or would we accidentally turn the atmosphere into a giant bomb? Take a deep breath. Actually, don't. Welcome to the great global fart. 3, 2, 1, release. First, let's talk about the volume. We need to measure the payload. The average human flatulence releases anywhere from 30 to 150 milliliters of gas. Let's be generous for the sake of science and say everyone had a bean burrito for lunch. We'll use 100 milliliters per person. Multiply that by 8 billion people. That gives us 800 million liters of intestinal gas released in a single second. To put that into perspective, that is enough gas to fill 320 Olympic-sized swimming pools instantly. Or fill the Hindenburg airship 4 times over. That is a massive biological cloud. Now, the first thing you would notice isn't the smell, it's the sound. A typical toot clocks in at around 10 to 50 decibels. But in a densely populated city like Tokyo or New York, you have thousands of people per square mile. The combined acoustic energy wouldn't just be a funny noise, it would be a roar. It would sound like a sudden, low-frequency clap of thunder erupting from the pavement everywhere at once. In crowded stadiums, the decibel level could spike high enough to potentially shatter glass or cause temporary hearing damage. But the sound fades quickly. The real horror is coming next. The smell. Flatulence is mostly nitrogen, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. These are odorless. The villain here is hydrogen sulfide. It makes up less than 1% of the gas, but it creates the rotten egg smell. Because gas diffuses, it takes a few seconds to hit. Then a global wave of nausea hits humanity. If you are outside, the wind will save you. If you are in an elevator, may God help you. In small enclosed spaces, the concentration of gas could displace oxygen. You wouldn't just smell bad, you might actually faint from hypoxia. Now, let's address the internet's favorite physics question. Could we fly? Newton's third law says for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Unfortunately, the force of a fart is about 0.2 newtons. That is roughly the weight of a feather. So no, 8 billion people would not launch into space. We would just stand there, disappointed and smelly. But there's a much bigger danger lurking in that cloud. Methane and hydrogen are highly flammable. For an explosion to happen, you need the right mix of gas and oxygen. Usually a fart dissipates too fast. But remember those crowded elevators or packed subway cars? In these enclosed spaces, the methane concentration could hit the critical 5% mark. If someone lights a cigarette, or even if static electricity sparks, boom, we would see millions of tiny, localized explosions around the world. No global fireball, but a lot of singed eyebrows and destroyed trousers. Finally, what about the planet itself? Methane is a potent greenhouse gas. Cows are usually blamed for this. But surprisingly, even 8 billion human farts barely register compared to industrial emissions. It would be a drop in the bucket for climate change. So, the world wouldn't end. The atmosphere wouldn't burn up. The biggest consequence would be the most awkward social moment in human history. Every first date, every job interview, every funeral, ruined instantly. World peace might be achieved simply because everyone is too embarrassed to fight. After about 15 minutes, the gas would disperse, the smell would fade, and we would all share a collective, silent agreement to never speak of the brown thunder ever again. What strange scenario should we test next? Thanks for watching Extreme What If. Subscribe if you held your breath during this video. See you in the next chaos.